The Israeli military has claimed responsibility for a nighttime raid in Syria last September, saying that dozens of commandos destroyed a top-secret Iranian-led missile factory. In bodycam footage released by the Israeli military, special forces are seen moving through the facility's wide underground hallways and seizing documents, before a large explosion destroyed the entire facility. The video, which could not be independently verified, also showed images of what the army said was missile manufacturing equipment. Israeli military spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani said Iran, working with its Syrian and Hezbollah allies, planned to build hundreds of precision-guided missiles per year at the factory that could be transferred to Lebanon. The facility was located in the western Syrian town of Masyaf near the Lebanese border. He said Israel had been monitoring the underground facility for several years, but decided to strike at a time when Israel was at war with Hezbollah and the factory was becoming operational. This facility posed a clear threat to the state of Israel, and this is why we had to take action, he said. Shoshani said over 100 Special Force soldiers took part in the September 8 raid, backed by dozens of aircraft that monitored the raid and prevented enemy forces from reaching the area. Calling it one of Israel's most complex operations in years, he said soldiers arrived by helicopter and entered the facility, where they confiscated documents, destroyed equipment, and demolished the facility, which was dug deep into the side of a mountain. At the time, Syrian state media reported 4 deaths from a series of Israeli airstrikes in the area. Shoshani said there were no Israeli casualties. The raid came at a time of heavy fighting between Israel and Iranian proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon. It was among a number of blows that Israel inflicted that month, including detonating hundreds of explosives-laden pagers and walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah operatives and assassinating the group's longtime leader, Hassan Nasrallah. Israel and Hezbollah reached a ceasefire in late November, halting nearly 14 months of fighting.
יש אישור פוצץ. יקונה פיצוץ? קבל, אנחנו לאחר פיצוץ. הכוח מוכן.
Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz said on Wednesday that Hamas will receive blows with an unprecedented intensity in Gaza for a long time if Hamas refuses to release Israeli hostages. Katz spoke while visiting the southern Israeli town of Netivot. Israel's military said militants fired rockets at Israel from the Buridge area overnight and that its forces responded with a strike targeting a militant. The military also issued evacuation orders for the area. The war began when Hamas-led militants attacked southern Israel on October 7, 2023, killing some 1,200 people and abducting around 250. About 100 hostages are still held in Gaza, at least a third believed to be dead. Israel's air and ground offensive has killed over 45,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry. It says women and children make up more than half the dead but does not say how many of those killed were militants. The Israeli military says it only targets militants and blames Hamas for civilian deaths because its fighters operate in dense residential areas. The army says it has killed 17,000 militants, without providing evidence. American and Arab mediators have spent nearly a year trying to broker a ceasefire and hostage release, but those efforts have repeatedly stalled. Hamas has demanded a lasting truce, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to keep fighting until total victory.
אני רוצה להעביר מכאן מסר ברור לראשי המחבלים בעזה. אם החמאס לא יאפשר בקרוב את שחרור החטופים הישראלים מעזה, למרות נכונות ישראל לפשרות מרחיקות לכת, בהתאם לעקרונות שהתווה נשיא ארצות הברית.
Parts of the United Kingdom were flooded Wednesday as heavy rains and powerful winds continued to disrupt New Year's celebrations. Several communities in the Manchester area were flooded, with several homes evacuated and cars submerged up to their roofs on roads and in parking lots after nearly a month's worth of rain fell in 2 days. A major incident was declared and mountain rescue teams were called in to help firefighters respond to swamped properties and stranded vehicles, Greater Manchester Police said. In Stockport, rivers were flooded and local flood wardens warned that extra measures may have to be taken. Warnings that indicate flooding is expected were issued at one point to more than 150 communities across the UK, with most being in northern England. Later in the day, dozens of those warnings had been lifted.
Yeah, so the first thing we noticed overall was a power cut before we saw the water. And then after that, it just sort of encroached and got higher and higher. And then we tried the lights weren't working, there was no water. And then we looked outside and saw this. And yeah, not the best way to spend New Year's.
I live near Timpley Brook, and that's now 2 foot higher than it normally runs.
And this is exactly what happened on 2019. It stopped raining, and we were saved basically because it stopped raining. And if you look to the left there, you can see the pumps working flat out. If we get more rain, I've already put the warning out, we will activate the community flood plan.
That car's been
Oh, the boots have popped up for some reason.
And they've been pushed up to the window.
It's not deeper than that. You look at the top of the bonnet up there.